Okay, so let's jump into this deep dive on Yuval Noah Harari's Sapiens.
Right.
Our mission today is to really unpack his timeline of humanity, hitting the major revolutions and, pulling out his biggest, most mind-bending ideas.
And the place to start, really, is 70,000 years ago, the cognitive revolution.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just about language. It was the ability to talk about things that aren't real, things that are purely imaginary.
Shared myths, that's the term he uses,
It's
right?
exactly. Shared myths. Think about concepts like nations or money or human rights. They don't physically exist.
So why was that the secret sauce? I mean, other human species like the Neanderthals, they had language. Why did we win out?
It all comes down to scale. A Neanderthal group could cooperate based on, who they knew personally. But with a shared story, a belief in a tribal spirit or a god sapiens could get thousands of complete strangers to work together.
That flexible, large-scale cooperation.
That's our superpower.
Okay, so that revolution gives us our edge. But the next one, the agricultural revolution, about 12,000 years ago, he famously calls that a trap.
He does, and it's such a provocative idea because on one hand, yes, farming let our population explode. We could build cities.
But for the average person,
For the average person, life arguably got worse. Their diets became much less varied. Suddenly you're just eating wheat or rice. And the work was backbreaking. It led to social hierarchies, to kings and peasants.
so we basically traded a better quality of life for, what, species-level security. It sort of sounds like a modern workaholics deal,
That's a great way to put it. And
Right.
once you have these huge populations, you need new ways to organize them.
which leads to his next big unifiers.
Right. First you have money, which lets total strangers trade. Then empires, which spread common laws and culture. And finally religions, which create a shared moral code.
And the key insight there, which just floors me every time, is that none of these are objective realities. The US dollar, the Roman Empire, they only work because we all believe they work.
It's all a story we agree to tell ourselves.
So that brings us closer to the modern era, around 1500 CE, the scientific revolution.
And what's so interesting about his take is that it didn't start with new knowledge. It started with an admission of ignorance.
With humanity collectively saying, we don't actually know everything.
Exactly. Let's go find out. That curiosity, when you connect it to money and empire, to capitalism and exploration, it just unleashes this incredible explosion of progress and power.
But here's the turn. Did all that power, all that progress, actually make us happier?
And Harari's analysis is pretty sobering. He basically argues, no, not necessarily. Our power has grown exponentially, but our level of contentment, our happiness, that hasn't really kept pace.
We're more powerful, but not necessarily more fulfilled.
Precisely. Which sets up his final, almost chilling question about where we're headed now.
With things like biotech and AI.
We're not just subject to evolution anymore. We are starting to actively design and direct it. We're becoming, in his words, gods.
But gods without a clear moral compass.
We have the power to create and destroy, but we haven't really solved the question of what makes for a good and meaningful life. We have no idea what we should want.
So to distill this for everyone listening, what are the big takeaways here?
I'd say there are three. First, so much of what we think of as real, our economies, our nations, is actually built on these powerful shared fictions.
Second, progress isn't a straight line to happiness. More power doesn't automatically mean more well-being.
And third, and this is the big one, we now have this godlike power, but we're operating with fundamentally uncertain wisdom.
So Harari leaves you with this final thought to really chew on.
Right. If we gain the power to redesign life itself, but we still don't know what will truly bring us fulfillment, what responsibility does that put on us? That's the challenge for Homo sapiens now.